It has been a couple of weeks since my last video and about a month since I made a video about the coronavirus. And in 2020 time, that means it feels like it's been about 100 years since I last made a video or spoke about anything. And in that time, I've been working on a few videos about climate change that I've kind of been thinking about for some time. But I've been finding it really hard to work on them because I guess like everyone else, it's hard to really think or do anything which isn't flavored, isn't affected by thoughts of the coronavirus outbreak and what that means for our lives and for the future of the planet. But I know that climate change and coronavirus, they're not unrelated. I spoke in that last video about why our responses to them are so different, but I do think they're important things we can learn by looking at these two problems. And one thing a lot of people have been saying on social media and in conversation with me is, that because of the shutdowns that we're having because of coronavirus, we're seeing a fall in emissions potentially, and we're seeing in some ways the natural world be able to restore itself. And what I've seen, which I find quite worrying, is some people almost celebrating this, saying that the virus is somehow a good thing because of its impact on our impact on the climate. Now, for me, this is just so the opposite of how I think we should think about this and how I think most people do think about this. The reason we care about climate change is because we care about people. We care about the suffering of people. And so any solution to climate change, which just means more suffering for people, is not a solution to climate change. Now couple that with the fact that we're not all going to be affected by coronavirus equally, and we're also not all going to be affected by climate change equally. Some of the people who are responsible for the least climate change are the people most at risk from coronavirus. People who don't have homes they can easily stay in, who don't have straightforward access to healthcare, just for two examples. So absolutely, I think that when we look at the impact coronavirus is having on our emissions and on the climate, I don't think there's any way to spin this as a positive. But on a more positive note, we can't just think about how we're responding now to the virus. For climate change, for coronavirus, whatever it is, it's important we think about what we're trying to stop, but it's also important we think about what comes next and what we're hopeful for. And I hope I'll make a video about exactly that pretty soon. But in the meantime, it's important that you keep some distance between yourself and your friends and your family, but at the same time, try and stay as close to them as you possibly can. Until next time, bye.